Welcome back to Common Ground, an inside look at Suffolk County. I'm your host, Sheriff Steve Tompkins. Now on this side of the show, we've got Matt Keogh, another candidate for one of the citywide city council seats, and he's going to talk to us about issues of importance to you and issues of importance to him, and tell us why you should consider giving him one of your votes for city council. Matt, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Sheriff.
I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you guys are all over the place. So let's start with, who is Matt Keogh and why are you running for office?
Well, my name is Martin Keogh, and
my bad.
I'm from right here in Roxbury. I was born in Roxbury, right down the street at the Mission Hill Projects. I grew up in Hyde Park, and I live in West Roxbury now with my wife Pamela. And we've got a little boy, and we've got a baby on the way, and I'm a new dad for the most part.
Good for you. Right. And why are you running for office?
Well, I'm running because there are three issues that are near and dear to me, and I think that are dear to everybody else in the city of Boston: public safety, public schools, and affordable housing. Mm-hmm. My main thing that I hear from people, that when they go looking for somewhere to live, they want to go somewhere where it's safe and where the schools are good. And when they want to leave a community, they leave because it's not safe and the schools aren't good.
You know, one of the three things, there are three things that generally, when people are transitioning out of my facility that they do not have, that causes them to recidivate, is housing, healthcare, and employment. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's start with public safety. What facet of public safety really interests you the most? Is it no more bullying in school, cops? You talk to us about where you come down on public safety.
Okay, well, let me first tell you that I'm an attorney, and part of my practice is criminal practice, so I deal with a lot of clients from every walk of life. Okay. And, you know, I put my lawyer, you ask me any question, I'm going to give you the pro and the con. On the pro, we need to have a safe city. We need more police, we need cameras, we need more community policing, etc. I don't want the police to go out and arrest every single kid in the city. That's why I like community policing. I'd like the police to go out and talk to a kid. If a kid may be at risk, if they talk to him, it's going to help that kid out. I don't want them to arrest the kid because I know one thing's for sure, and I agree with Governor Patrick on the Corey bill, the reform he's done. There needs to be more, but the reason why I agree with it is that when someone gets arrested, it's a stigma on them for the rest of their life for job, employment, possibly school, and possibly housing. So, you know, on the one hand, I say, I want to fight crime. I want to keep crime low. I want people to feel safe. But on the other hand, I want to make sure people's constitutional rights and their livelihoods are okay. A lot of my clients that I get, they're at their first-time offenders. Some of them are second-time offenders, but everybody deserves a break. And what I do, I'll get a kid, and you know, sometimes they just want to get rid of the case that day, and I say, you can't do it. You can't. It'll be a mark against you for the rest of your life. I know because I went through it. And Sheriff, what a lot of people don't know about me is that, although I'm an attorney, I dropped out of high school. And when I dropped out of high school, I got in trouble. And, you know, one thing led to another. But that's why I became an attorney. That's why I am who I am. And I know what I went through to get to where I am right now. And I'm trying to, kids, it doesn't make a difference, you know, what neighborhood they come from. I want every kid to have a chance in life.
You know, that's an empowering story, and I'm glad you shared that with us, because I often talk to kids, and they think that because they've fallen into the criminal justice system, that life's over, that they don't have any opportunities, that there are no second chances. We are a second chance society, you know, and so having someone like yourself who has risen up out of that has attained, not only went to college, but went to law school, have a degree, and is practicing, and now running for office. I think that's a great example for not just kids, but young adults and all, to see that if you apply yourself, if you push yourself, anything's possible.
Thank you. And it's funny because when I tell people now, they go, oh, he turned his life around. And I never thought of it that way. I just, you know, I came from a single-parent family. My parents divorced well over 30 years ago, and, you know, at the time, basically, if you were to look at my school transcript, it was A, B student all the way, you know, popular. And then when they got divorced, boom, 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 straight down, and then it dropped out. And so I'll tell people that story. They go, you turn your life around. I go, and I thought, I go, I guess I did, because I'll say to my clients, too, you've got to do things now before you hurt yourself in the future. And I was one of those kids. But I never thought of it as turning my life around. I just thought of it as a life experience that I went through. I've got 3 brothers and 3 sisters, and you know, I don't think I'm the black sheep of the family, but none of them, you know, got in trouble like I got in trouble. And I took that experience. It's why I went to law school. You know, again, like, I think everyone deserves a second chance. I didn't realize I was getting a second chance when I got it. I didn't realize that when my mother, and again, I tell people this story. I dropped out of high school, and I'd say maybe 3 or 4 months after that, she came in and she woke me up and I was like, what's up? It was like 7 in the morning. She said, you've got to do something with your life. You've got to go get your GED. You've got to go, and I want you to get your GED right away, or I'm kicking you out of the house,
That's right, that's right.
And that was
good
the start.
for her.
Yeah.
But good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her because she invested that time and that love and that care and that nurturing in you to make sure that you would do the right thing.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk to your clientele also, you also have what kids like to call street cred or street credibility, okay, because you've walked in their shoes. Yeah. So it's not like just a guy who's my lawyer. It's a gentleman who has gone through, walked that same path that I walked. And so that credibility is really important when you talk about trying to get these kids to turn their lives around.
I say it all the time, and and again, when I was a kid, I remember, when I was getting into trouble, the police are out there to do their job, and I say, once you get in trouble, it's like you've got a mark on you. Now they're watching. You're on the radar screen, and it's unfortunate, but that's what the police are supposed to do. Right. So when I get a kid, and they're like, I got in a fight or whatever, and this cop doesn't like me, and I say, first of all, the officer is doing his job, number one. Number two, you're right. You're on his radar screen. They all talk. They're all going to be watching out for you. Right. You've got to change your life now. And then I go into my story. And it's funny because I don't think they really get impressed by my story, but I think, by the time I'm done with the case, and a lot of my clients, I identify with almost every single one of them. They come from single-parent families. They came from the Boston Public Schools. I grew up in Hyde Park.
That's right.
Hyde Park is a very diverse community, especially when I was growing up. And I've got a lot in common with these kids. And once I'm done with them, I like to think that a lot of the guys that I represented never got in trouble again. And if they did, I never heard from them again. So I hope they didn't,
That's good. Talk to us about education. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I'm a big believer in education. I'm a big believer in the Boston Public Schools because I went there. My family's middle class. My parents couldn't afford to send all of us to private school, and I think any chance I had to go to private school, was probably gone when, one of my grades started to get down the hill anyway. Right. They would have kicked me out. But I went to the Boston Public Schools. I had a great time. I have fond memories. It's funny because I don't really do Facebook, but I've been doing it for the campaign, and I got Troy Edler, a kid I went to school. I haven't seen him in 30 years. Alan Gay,
Right.
I was at Roxbury Crossing the other day holding signs, and Alan Gay's brother Reggie Gay come up and he looked familiar, and I remember him. I think he was younger than us, but as soon as I saw Gay, I go, oh, you're Alan's brother. And I said, tell him I said hi. He's already on Facebook anyway. But I went to the public schools. I had a great time there. And again, it wasn't the public school's fault. It wasn't my teacher's fault. It was the turmoil I was going through at home with my parents' divorce. And I see what's going on now is that I think some people have given up on the public schools. I think it's a bad idea. We have to have public schools, and I realize the charter schools are good. But charter schools aren't the answer for fixing the Boston Public Schools. The answer is to fix the public schools themselves. I think the charter schools might have opened up a lot of people's eyes.
How would you go about fixing the public schools?
Well, first of all, and no one wants to hear this, but the public schools do need more money for books, teachers, activities, etc. Now, I'm not proposing that we go and raise the budget even $1 million. I think we go in and we look at the budget and we find out where we can shift money around. So, number one, we need more books. We need after-school programs. We can't tell the teachers, you're going to do it, you're going to do a longer day and not get paid. They need to get paid for it. Right now, the way the curriculum is they have it is they try to do testing in one area and they might neglect others. That can't happen. You've got to give math, English, Spanish, things like that. All that stuff has to be there. But what I like to do is I like to have a lot more after-school or extracurricular programs. Number one, I like the sports. A lot more sports. And my motto is, more sports, less courts. You get a kid doing something at the school is in sports, he's gone. He won't. He's more likely not to get in trouble and more likely to stay in school, more likely to form a friendship. We obviously like to see arts and music because you're going to get the kid. I was athletic when I was a kid, but you get the kids that they're into art or they're into music. They're not into physical play. We need more money towards special ed. The Boston Public School does have a big special ed population. But the thing is that you're going to get the kid, and I'll use, again, me as the example. I hate reading books. I had to read books in high school, college, and law school. I'm not a big book reader, but I knew I had to do it to pass. In the public schools, if you've got a kid doing math and English all day and whatever, at the end of the day, they don't really want to do homework. They want to do something else. And I'm not saying no more homework, but you give them something else to do. It gives them something to look forward to going to school. And again, in my household, my dad, they were divorced. I saw him from time to time. In fact, I'm one of the only, it's me and my brother, the only ones that really talk to him. He's in a nursing home now. I'm his proxy, I'm his caretaker, I'm everything. It's been very, very stressful, especially during the campaign. But you know, my mother worked all the time, so she was never home. So we get out of school, and you know, again, not my parents' fault, not the school's fault, just you know, just the way it was.
What do you think about vocational education?
An excellent idea, and I know both mayors are talking about it right now. I think it's, I think no matter who the next mayor is, I think it's going to come. I think it's necessary. Again, you get someone like me that I dropped out of school, you know, so at that point I wasn't going to college, you know, and I didn't even have a job. Imagine that, dropping out of school without, I didn't know what my future was going to be like. But I think that you know, your high school should have a vocational, you know, for the guy who wants to do woodworking. And let's just say, you know, we put a woodworking shop over in Brighton High, and then, you know, we've got Madison Park with what they already have, and, you know, there's a sheet metal shop in Charlestown High. You know, you get a kid who's going to West Roxbury and he wants to take woodworking, yeah, or he can leave West Roxbury and go take the woodworking there if we have to. I mean, there's plenty of ways to make this work. But it's a good idea because the kid that just isn't going to go to college, you know, almost me, is going to need a job, and there's no better way to do it than train him at school.
Well, look, you know, last time I had a carpenter or a plumber or any of these guys at my house, it cost a nice piece of change. So you can go and get yourself a trade, a job in the trades, vocational education, and do quite well for yourself. You know, I'm probably a little bit older than you, and I grew up in New York City, but we used to have vocational education high schools, you know, for automotive or printing or this, that, and the other thing, for that guy or that lady that did not want to go straight to college, but wanted to be able to earn a living and take care of their families.
My plumber makes more than I do.
That's what I'm saying. You know, I mean, these guys, I'm not going to say, well, you do have it good. I am saying that you do have it good. Talk to me about housing, particularly affordable housing.
All right, there's a couple things. You know, we need more housing in the city of Boston, number one, period. We need more lower income. We need more, especially more middle income. And, you know, the higher income, they're building that every day. It's great. I think the city of Boston has transformed somewhat with the housing and all the stuff we're doing downtown. But we need more housing in the inner neighborhoods. And I was at a meeting in Roxbury the other night, and the topic came up, and the guy grabbed me and he said, we need more housing, but don't keep putting lower housing here. We want middle income, we want mixed income, we want this. So I said, it didn't even occur to me, you know, what he was saying is that, you know, don't start putting it here and putting all the nice stuff somewhere else. You know, that's kind of what it was getting to. And, you know, my thing is that the city of Boston's, the Department of Neighborhood Development has tons, thousands and thousands of parcels of land. Okay, you can put a house on one, a school on another. You know, there's all kinds of uses, and the city knows this. And Mayor Menino came up with his ambitious plan, which I love: 30,000 units of housing by the year 2020. It's a huge, high, lofty goal, but I'd rather him say 30,000 than like 500. You know, the higher you go, the more you're going to get. So what I was proposing is that we find some of those parcels where we can put, you know, maybe a multi-unit apartment building where either we sell condos, we have low rent for people, you know, based on income. The second area I'd like to do is you get parcels of land that you could build a house on. I'd like to say, you know, all right, let's just say, I know you probably only make about $25,000 or $30,000, but
that's you, if that.
Really, the hours we work, we make $5 an hour.
Okay.
So, you know, someone, you come in, you make it 25, 30, maybe 40 grand a year, and you go to a bank and they say you only qualify for a loan for 100 grand. You can't find a house for 100 grand. So what I'd like the city to do, instead of taking that parcel land and selling it to the developer or the contractor for whatever they sell it for, let's give it to you. You get the piece of land. We're going to get you a loan through Citizens, a sovereign bank, a bank in the community, a 50-year mortgage on like 100 grand, 150 grand, whatever it costs to build a house. You build a house. At the end of 10 years, you own that land outright. Of course, you're still going to have a mortgage. So now you get the pride of ownership. You're living in a house paying less for a mortgage than you would pay for rent. You're taking a blight out of the, and you know, the properties I see people all the time, it's those properties where you see the white picket fence around, a couple pickets broken, trash, tall grass. You take what's a blighted area out, you put a house there. The guy next door is going to be thrilled. Everyone in the neighborhood's going to be thrilled because it's going to bring up the property value of the entire neighborhood. So it serves to do, and in addition, the city of Boston doesn't have to pay to keep maintaining it. That's right. You're getting putting a property on the tax roll, so there's so many benefits of doing it. And I'm sure it was thought of before. I never heard of it. I know it's not unique to me. I'm sure somebody thought of it, but so I'm bringing it up again. And I say, let somebody go and shoot down my idea. Fine, but at least it's an idea out there and it'll get people talking.
Yeah. But it also plays into what you're talking about around public safety.
Yeah.
Because if you have, because a lot of these abandoned buildings sometimes become crack houses and other, you know, really bad activities go on in these dwellings. So you're talking about not only brightening the neighborhood, but you're making it a lot safer.
Absolutely. And the best example, I grew up in Summer Street in Hyde Park, and for the longest time, I don't know if you remember this or not, but